And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to The Bald Truth. Phone number is 888-659-3727. So great to be here. 888-659-3727, of course, toll-free number, coast to coast and worldwide. If you are new to the broadcast, don't know who I am or why I'm here, I'm the hair loss guy. And as bizarre as that sounds, the fact that, this is what I talk about day in, day out for the last 14 years. The reason I'm able to do this is because every day there are 200,000 hair loss sufferers waking up, realizing for the first time that they're losing their hair. It's like a new show to them. Now, obviously, I've had guys and ladies listening to the broadcast for the last 14 years, whether it was on terrestrial radio or satellite radio or online, and I certainly appreciate those longtime listeners and fans. But the truth is, because so many people are realizing for the first time and going online and doing their research and finding the show for the first time, there may be times when we have to repeat ourselves. And frankly, that's every week. It's very unusual for a broadcast, for a broadcaster, for someone with a radio show to open with the same shit week after week. Maybe, they'll, have a kind of like a little bit of a spiel that they do, especially the daily guys. But it usually is something that is topic-based, something that might be current, which we try to keep as current as we can in the world of hair loss. But it's very unusual for a broadcast to last that talks about the same goddamn thing week in and week out. I guess we've been fortunate in one sense that we've been able to do that. But unfortunately, the reason, again, that we're able to do that is that so many people are suffering in silence. Got a cough tonight. So many people are out there who, they're so lost. They don't know where to turn. Maybe they missed a broadcast. Maybe they didn't find us or our resources like the American Hair Loss Association or one of my books. And they ended up buying a product or service that really did not help them or, in the worst case scenario, harm them. So they kind of circle back to us. Now, I'm glad we're still here to help these people out. But I would love for the walking wounded, the silent sufferers, the guys that have gone out there and spent tens of thousands of dollars on bad hair pieces and bad hair transplants and, bullshit products and services. I would love for them to be able to find us first. But you know what happens? Kind of like what I did. Even though I started to lose my hair in the dark ages of hair loss. But, as soon as I found an ad, as soon as I found someone who claimed that they could help me, I was like, shit, I got to do this. Sign me up. Where do I sign? Here's my credit card. And now that there's so much information, it's very difficult for people to kind of navigate this field. That, they're just as vulnerable, if not more vulnerable, because there's so much being thrown at them. So what they normally do, I would say what a decent percentage of people do, is they'll find the American Hair Loss Association. You look up hair loss treatment or treatments or whatever. We're usually like, at least the top 3 in Google. And they're like, hey, this is it's really cool. There's actually a hair loss organization that provides free information and guidance. But they're not selling anything. So I'll go back to them later. You know, fuck it. I'm going to buy this guy's ebook because he's saying, at least that's what he's writing about on his website, that he's found the cure for hair loss. So I'm going to put down the $49.95. I'm going to read this shit, and I'm going to help myself because obviously, taking a look at this guy's picture, he's got a great head of hair. That's the fucking mentality. I'm all hunched over tonight too. I mean, I don't even understand it. I guess I do to some degree because we're so vulnerable and desperate. But God damn it, if I had this information back in the day, back in 1987, when I first noticed that I was losing my hair at the tender age of 21, I think I would have deciphered it. I think I would have been able to figure it out to some degree, at least step back and say, okay, there's all these products and services, but there's this organization, there's this radio show, there's this hair transplant organization, there's these message forums. Let me really take a lot of time and read all this stuff because if I spend more than an hour on these resources, I'll find out that most of the stuff being sold out there is bullshit. Still doesn't happen. I don't know what the fuck to do. 888-659-3727. Frustrates the hell out of me. We still get so many emails from guys who have been burned. I was just interviewed for another magazine. The last one, this woman was extremely well versed. She asked all the right questions. This week, not so much. Not so much. It's amazing how little people actually know about hair loss, about the causes of hair loss, and in my view, even more importantly, about all the bullshit that's being sold in the $3.5 billion a year hair loss industry. It looks like my feed is frozen on the Bald Truth. I think that's through Stickcam. It could just be my computer. You guys let me know. 888-659-3727. Let's go right to the phones. I have a feeling I know who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Good evening, everybody. I want to tell you, Spencer, and millions of viewers and listeners, I finally have been vindicated. Recent scientific studies have shown this week that men who are castrated pre-puberty live 20 years, actually 19 years longer than a man who has not. They live a quality of life. They do not suffer hair loss. They do not suffer acne. And they actually look younger than they appear. I've always advocated castration. Mom and Dad, go to hell because you prevented me from doing it. I hate you both.
My name is
Joe from Staten Island.
My name is excuse me. My name is
Would you like to may I reiterate it?
My name is
Have you heard it? Excuse me.
My name is
Joe from Staten Island.
So, Joe, I see you're getting some. By the way, that was pretty profound, but I don't necessarily agree that would be a great idea, a great life choice for a parent to allow their child I think it's called an autodectomy when you remove your testicles. I think that would be.
Spencer, I knew my family history, and I know what I was destined for. My maternal grandpa was in Norwood 6. I know my destiny. I insisted on castration. My parents were not signing a release. So here I am today, laying in bed, a bald man. Thanks to them.
Yeah, but if you were castrated, you wouldn't have a family. You would you would have a lot of feminizing issues. Yes, you do produce some degree of testosterone through your adrenal gland, but you would have no real quality of life. You'd be a feminized male with a full head of hair. Oh, wait a second. That's what you want.
But I would have lived 19 years longer, according to recent studies I'm sure you're aware of. I would have had a full head of hair. I would have had a quality of life. I would have been a happy man. I'm sure you've read the studies.
You know what?
A castrated man lives 19 years longer.
All right. Yes. It was actually sent to me. However, it's just... I think I told you the story a long time ago. is when I first got into the industry, wrote the book, had an 800 number coming into my apartment, which you actually called. And I got a phone call from a guy who's actually living out here who was going through therapy. He was towards the end of the final couple of months of therapy to basically have his balls cut off. Now he was a homosexual, but he was not interested in being a transsexual. But he had to, in order for him to have this operation, he had to go to therapy. Otherwise, no one would perform it. So he did. I spoke to him, explained, what my thoughts were, and also told him that, he was 35 years old. I said, it's not going to reverse the process. In his mind, and I know this is different than what you're talking about, but in his mind, he thought I was going to reverse the process. And he said he would have been satisfied if he could just halt the process, but I was lucky enough and I was able to talk him out of it. This guy called the show. I don't know if you remember this.
Of course I do.
Maybe about 7 years later, to thank me for not allowing him or for helping him see the light when it came to cutting his testicles off. Now, as insane as it sounds to new listeners, as insane as it sounds to a guy like Suncast, as insane as it sounds to so many people listening to this broadcast, there are entire conversations, discussions online about this. There are people willing to do the most extreme things, go through the most extreme measures to stop their hair loss. I'm a hair loss sufferer. I'm a guy who's dealt with this for many, many years. I'm a guy who still, to some degree, has some depression because of having to deal with, styling my hair and trying to continue the sham that it is. For the most part, I feel pretty good, though. But I would never have contemplated something like that, even if I knew beforehand that if I understood my family history and if I knew I was going to lose my hair. So you are one of the guys who are really on the extreme ends of the spectrum, Joe. I thought it was kind of funny, the guy that in the chat room that said you're an expert at eating up airtime. I don't know why.
I've been in the chat room for 10 minutes. I've been attacked by several people already, I should wear a bulletproof vest in the chat room. I've been attacked. I'm bulletproof vest in the closet. I should wear it during the show.
And I love the guys like, viewer 776. Let's go on with the news. This talk is dumb. All these guys that want to hear is the fucking news. There's no real news. There's a little news, but nothing major. I don't understand why these guys can't understand this. This is a support group. This is a place where people come to talk about their issues, to talk about hair loss, to talk about living life as a hair loss sufferer. And all kinds of different issues come up. It's not just what's happening with L'Oreal. It's not just what's happening with Allergan.
What?
Go ahead.
Well, there's no major breaking news. There was to be in the front page of the New York Times, ABC, NBC News, etc. Just let me just finish my thought. I'm not advocating hair loss sufferers be castrated. That will do nothing. I was advocating prepubescent hair loss sufferers like myself who knew what they're destined for. My maternal grandfather knew at 6. I knew my life will be over shortly. I begged my parents to do it. They wouldn't sign a release. This is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Can you please comment on that, Spencer?
I commented on it. I think it's nuts. Thank God your parents didn't do this to you. Who knows what would have happened to your life? Well, you're going to live a little longer life. You're not going to be able to have sex. You're not going to be able to, maybe when you were very young, you would have been able to, achieve and maintain an erection just because of your free-flowing testosterone from your adrenal glands. But it wouldn't have lasted very long. You probably would have had maybe lasted into your mid-20s if you were lucky with some sort of sexual ability and interest.
But the thing is, men who are not castrated, according to my studies, the scientific studies have shown, live 19 years less than people who were not castrated. I'd rather have, live 20 years longer as a happy person than live 19 years less as a miserable hair loss sufferer.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, to each their own. If that would have made you happy, then I guess. But I don't think it was your parents' decision to allow that to happen, for a 15-year-old kid to make that decision. I mean, it would have been pretty irresponsible of them to say, you know what, I think Joey's mature enough to make the decision to have his nuts cut off. I think that would have been a pretty fucked up thing for your parents to do. I'm just saying.
So ignorant. I'm sorry, sir.
I'm just saying.
My father was so goddamn ignorant. He always said, I have beautiful hair. You won't lose your hair. You'll be like me. I said, no, Dad. Grandpa's is in Norwood 6. It comes from maternal grandfather. I'm dead. My life is over. And he always laughed at me and mocked me. Hate you, Dad. I told you what was going to happen. I hate you today. You know?
That's really too bad.
Well, okay. So, so let me get to the news.
Let's get to
I've been on the air 5 minutes. I've been attacked violently. I mean, it's horrific. I imagine the life you lead, Spencer. I can't even imagine.
No, listen, there's always going to be assholes in the room. Don't worry about it. That's what these guys live for. As long as they keep watching and they're talking about you, Joe, that's all that matters. Hopefully we can help them out in some respect. But, you can't make everybody happy, so don't worry about it.
People attacking me and you. We're hair loss experts. Why curate your hair loss? We're not scientists. We're hair loss advocates.
Well, it's funny. The guys in the room was like, how is Joe an expert? I never said Joe is an expert. Joe says Joe's an expert. What I do say is Joe is a tremendous hair loss enthusiast. The guy takes a tremendous amount of time to do his research, as much research, if not more, than anybody else out there. He takes the time out of his day every week to call this program and to get this news to you guys. So maybe you should appreciate him just a little bit.
Thank you.
You got it.
Spencer, when I say I'm an expert, I don't mean I'm a scientist or a physician. I mean I'm an expert on the news that's around. That's the point I'm trying to make. I'm a research expert, not a physician or a scientist. Could you please emphasize this to your millions of viewers listening right now?
I think you just did. Let's get to the news.
All right. Okay, well, nothing actually dramatic. Well, the bottom line is Allergan has finished their clinical phase 2 trials. I'm expecting an announcement in the next 2 or 3 weeks that they will be going to phase 3, and I'm expecting that doctors will be selling their own so-called physician. Let me emphasize this: will be selling their so-called mix-up monopros potions within the next 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, I would not disagree with that. You know what I'd like to do, and if we can, but the problem is you don't want to go on camera. I would love to send you to Jersey to meet with these people. I'll hook you up. We can get a mic. I can actually send, we could send Andrew with you.
New Jersey?
Yeah. And for you to interview these guys.
Well, I don't believe they're giving interviews right now for stock reasons. I've heard Allergan has issued no official statement.
They will soon. And we can get in there. We can get in there, and I think it would be fucking hilarious to have Joe from Staten Island get the scoop.
Well, can I wear my surgical mask?
No. You would have to actually look normal. Otherwise, it wouldn't work.
Well, once they're identified, I think I might be killed. That's a possibility, as you probably know, Spencer. I don't have to appraise you of that.
How about this? You can wear kind of like Men from Black sunglasses. Men in Black.
Well,
Men from Black.
You send me your bodyguards over for the day, maybe?
Yeah, no, you'd be protected. I don't know. You think they're going to get into the building? Come on, you don't have to worry about that. What you're concerned about is when people actually see the video.
Yes, because someone's going to know who I am and put my name all over the internet, my phone number, and my email address. I see it coming. You know how it is.
Oh, I know how it is. Believe me, I put myself out there all the time.
I know you know how it is, but you're attacked every day.
There's a lot of cowards that wouldn't put their neck on the line and do what a lot of us do. But I'm not calling you a coward, Joe. I understand you're in a position where you're not out there attacking people.
No, I don't attack anyone. And I make a brief comment and rest of the news. It's amazing. Dr. What's his name? Dr. Lee's on the federal investigation, as you know. Have you heard about that?
I have. I was actually contacted by someone in the press about it, and I chose to decline the interview, and I'll tell you why. Well, I don't necessarily agree with the way some of these products have been sold over the years. I do know that, and I do believe that Dr. Lee was doing a good thing for a lot of people. He was really trying to help a lot of people. Did you ever use any of his products?
Yes, I did. Xanagrox 15.
Now,
15% minoxidil with azelaic acid.
there were a lot of people that believed they were helped by him. He was, I believed he was an honest guy. I chose not to comment because I could tell it was going to be a real, in my view, a real hack piece. And I don't want to be involved in that. I do feel bad for, what they're going through. But you know what? If these guys broke the law, they broke the law.
But you know what's amazing to me? The worst case scenario is people who've used Dr. Lee's products have had no success or they've lost money. Okay, be it what it be. But these so-called physicians who are, Dr. Lee's facing jail time and multiple fines. These so-called physicians who have destroyed people's lives, who actually destroyed people's lives, are walking away scot-free.
That's the irony. That's the irony. I agree with you. I agree with you. When I was contacted, I was like, I don't want to. I mean, I'm not going to make this guy's life any more difficult. They wanted commentary from the American, from Spencer Kobren, the American Hair Loss Association. I mean, I do believe, like you said, these agencies should be focusing on these guys who have been destroying lives forever, who continue to refuse to change the infrastructure of their practices and continue to destroy lives. Now, I know there's a group of guys out there that think that even the best doctors out there are doing some damage. And look, every doctor has some bad patients. But the truth is, there are so many physicians out there that, luckily, because of Bald Truth Talk and because of what we do here at the Bald Truth and through some other resources out there that may not be related to us, the information's out there for guys, I believe, to make educated choices, to make good decisions. And at the very least, if they go to the IHRS, they're going to be able to pick from a pool of doctors who are doing consistently good work, far superior than the countless guys out there who are just hanging up a shingle and calling themselves hair transplant specialists. So you're right, Joe. They should be focusing on some of these hacks out there that are really destroying lives. The guys that are going to be cutting into somebody tomorrow morning. The guy that is now currently no longer practicing, who went out online and defamed, patients and colleagues and people in this industry. These are the guys that these agencies should be going after.
Well, the worst case scenario, maybe Dr. Lee cost people some money. That's the worst case scenario. Some of these so-called physicians have actually caused people to commit suicide over their work.
Yes.
And I'm sure you're aware of that, Spencer.
I am aware of it.
These guys deserve prison, if not the death penalty. And I'm being very aggressive tonight because I'm really stunned by the attacks on Dr. Lee. I'm stunned by it, what this guy's facing. And he's done really nothing compared to these murderers who have so-called physicians who have destroyed lives.
Well, it's a big deal. I mean, he's facing federal charges. He's being indicted.
For what? For nothing.
Well, I mean, listen. The truth is, someone had a hard-on for him. I'm imagining, and they contacted the authorities because of his success. And there have been guys who have been selling minoxidil concoctions for many, many years, selling directly out of their practice. Then they started online. And because it's, basically interstate commerce, it's crossing state lines. There are different laws in each state. It's a problem that, maybe he should have had better attorneys. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they should have thought this out a little bit better and really, stuck to the letter of the law before they, pursued business the way that they were over the years. But
Well,
with that said,
sorry.
you know, like I like to live my life, you know, within the parameters of the law. I don't like to skirt the law. You know, with that
course
said,
you don't.
I don't believe that he was harming people. I just believe that they were stupid, and they made some you know, what is now being turned into a federal case, literally.
I mean, these people should be at the. I can name 10 doctors right now. I'm not going to take the time to put the names on the air. You know who they are. Who should be in prison, if not executed, death penalty for what they've done to people's lives.
Well, but
They're focusing on poor Dr. Lee, who has really done nothing.
yeah, but the truth is, you know, you're not allowed to, you know, legally, you know, you can't sell certain agents if they're not FDA approved, if they are combined and concocted and misbranded, which they're claiming that was being done. You know, I mean, these are all things that, you know, I think what happens is when something is done long enough, and, you know, obviously he's helping people. There's a lot of guys that enjoyed, you know, using his product. He had a pretty thriving business for many, many years. You kind of, you know, look the other way. You're kind of like, well, you know, maybe we are skirting the law, but, you know, we're not hurting anybody and no one really cares anyway. So we're just going to, you know, as that money keeps coming in, you know, these companies become more brazen. Maybe when he decided to work with another company, you know, maybe when, you know, they decided to grow the company the way they grew it instead of leaving it, you know, profitable, but, you know, smaller. Who knows why it turned into what it did? Maybe he pissed off the wrong person. But I hate to say it, but that's what happens when you break the law.
Yeah, but these cats in these white coats are walking around and they're destroying lives. They're committing major felonies, and they're still practicing medicine. To me, this is unbelievable, Spencer.
I agree, but that's the way of the world, bro.
I'd love to personally cuff these doctors myself for the crimes they've committed. And I cuff them behind their backs. And I make the cuffs really tight, man, for what they've done to humanity.
Well, listen, I can't disagree with you. I wish Dr. Lee the best. I really do. Who's always a very nice man. It's too bad this is happening in his twilight years. And hopefully he will just get a slap on the wrist, maybe a fine, and he'll be able to move on with his life.
Well, I'm not an expert anymore. I've been attacked on the air, so I'm not an expert. In my lay opinion, Dr. Lee deserves nothing. These hair trans butchers deserve to be immediately arrested, put in jail, and face the death penalty, in my opinion, for the lives they've caused, people's lives, who people have actually committed suicide over what they've done to them. You know what I'm saying, Spencer? It's driving me insane.
I know what you're saying, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. And you know, we've been trying to kind of steer people in the right direction for the last 13, 14 years. And sadly, this work, what we've done here, Joe, and you're a part of this, has evolved this field in a way that, you know, people who aren't involved, people who are kind of watching from the sidelines, they have no fucking idea, you know, what we've been able to accomplish. How, when I walked into this industry, 98% of the guys were doing mini and micros, if not worse. Mm-hmm. And we put the pressure on the industry to evolve, and they did it quickly. First, they all started to use stereo microscopes and do, you know, follicular unit transplantation. And then it evolved with our pushing. We evolved follicular unit extraction. Now, there are guys like John Cole and other guys who will, you know, kind of say, well, you know, I'm the guy, you know, I did all the work. Yes, John, you know, you did all the work. You are performing the surgeries. But it was the financial pressure and the public pressure and the fact that once this was introduced to the public, to the hair loss consumer, to the guys in the online world, that demand was created. And that's why FUE evolved the way that it did. Poor Dr. Woods would have been stuck. I mean, now he is in a sense, but, you know, no one wanted to listen to him. No one gave the guy an opportunity. Everyone poo-pooed it until we brought it to the table, period. And I will say, I'm going to give this guy credit too. You know, the guy Farrell over at Hair Loss Help, you know, he allowed a lot of discussion on his forum. I did not have a forum at the time.
But it's a brief comment. People are attacking you, Spencer, now online because you have not put out pictures. They're accusing you of from Dr. Zarian who promised pictures of histogen.
What are they accusing? What are they saying about me?
That you have put the pictures out.
That's
well, they want to know why you.
Not attacking. I don't have the fucking pictures. If I had the pictures,
right,
don't you think I put them out? It drives traffic to the site. Of course, I'm going to put them out.
I'm just saying you're being attacked for that on various sites.
I don't care. Fuck them.
Well, no, I'm just letting you know that. You know, I know you don't have the pictures. You know, that's the bottom line. Now, if you don't, I'll get the news in 1 second. Just give me 5 more minutes.
Well, I actually, I've given you more than, dude. It is 5:40. You know what time it is, right? You know how long you've been on the air? I got to take a call.
Let me just say one quick thing. Let me say one thing. Your producer Andrew saying that Romney has better, great hair than Obama, President Obama. Romney is a Noah too, bordering on Noah, is definitely Noah too. But President Obama is, in my opinion, is a Noah. My lay opinion, before I'm attacked by the sufferers online, is a Noah 0.
I have to disagree. He has a slight brush down, I think they call it.
President Obama?
In the African American community. It's slightly a little long, and it's kind of brushed forward a little bit. It's not as tight as you think. It's tight. I mean, he's got an incredible hairline, but it's not straight across his head.
But Mitt Romney is definitely a Noah too. There's no doubt about that.
So what? His hair is majestic. He's like, how old is he? 60?
65. In my opinion, he's at least 2,000 grafts.
How old is he?
65? He needs at least 2,000 grafts to be a Ronnie Reagan.
Dude, he doesn't need to be a Ronnie Reagan. Ronnie Reagan was just, that was a crazy hairline. Look, I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to take a phone call. I'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you, Spencer.
All right. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Jesus Christ, 41 minutes.
Holy shit, thank God. Thank God, Andrew.
Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah.
One more question. One more. What's going on, bud?
Yeah. Nothing, man. How you doing?
Good. I'm enjoying the show. I'm sitting here. I'm having really expensive tequila.
Oh, good for you, man.
On the couch, and I'm enjoying the show.
How's the video?
Excellent. The video is phenomenal.
That's great, man. Everything's working out today.
Phenomenal video.
I disconnected the other mics. Maybe that's why things are working.
No, it looks really good. It sounds really good. The show's going out pretty good. Chat room is crazy as always.
We're having We seem to be having a lot of trouble with the Stickam feed, though.
Yeah. There's a lot of problems. I suggest everybody switch over to JTV.
Yeah, I think what we might have to do is when we need to talk to them, maybe make the main screen, at least when the Ball of Truth is on, something else.
I did already.
Oh, good.
It's all done.
Good. So
we're quick here.
Good. I'm glad. You guys are on the ball. Thank God. Stickcam's working just fine for me. Joe.
I don't know. Don't listen to Funcat.
Yeah. So I don't know. Joe is. I love Joe. I really do. But when he starts to show off with, the castration story, and the fact that he
wants everybody castrated.
Yeah, but he's pissed off at his parents that they didn't allow him to cut his nuts off at the age of 15.
I wonder how pissed off he would have been if they did cut his nuts off at 15.
Yeah, who the fuck knows, man?
Like, that'd be a whole separate, scenario. It'd be like Josephina from Staten Island.
His sister called in once, and it was kind of interesting because they kind of had the same accent.
Oh, that's hysterical.
I don't know if you remember that.
I'm surprised he hasn't brought up any of the L'Oreal news and all that stuff.
Well, he was going to. I know, but it's like 43 minutes after the hour, and he had to get this whole spiel out first.
You snooze, you lose. You got to get the news out first, Joe.
Unreal. So I was talking about last.
That's fascinating.
I was talking about last week's show. What'd you say? You find what fascinating?
No, the whole L'Oreal stuff.
I don't even find it fascinating. You know why? Because in my view, I've said this from the beginning. Really, what they're doing is something I would consider it a cosmetic. Just like these skincare companies are somehow, with the use of semantics, get out there and advertise these, make these anti-aging claims. I believe the same thing is happening with L'Oreal, but I could be wrong. We'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I was talking to you about this today, and I don't know if this is happening in other places, but I use a thickening shampoo, and I use the one in the green bottle, the one that a lot of your viewers have discussed.
Right.
And I went to about 3 different CVS's. One was an Eckerd, one was a Rite Aid, one was a CVS, and I'm noticing I cannot find these thickening shampoos anymore. And I wonder if they're cracking down on the wording that they have to use. I mean, you see it a lot with cosmetic stuff like makeup and all these anti-aging stuff. And I'm wondering if they're gonna go to the shampoos too with the wording.
It's interesting. I'm gonna have to find something online about that because you said you went to 3 different stores. It's possible.
I went to 3 different stores.
It's possible that there's something happening where they're going to crack down. I don't know. I didn't get any news on that, but. It's fine if they say, makes your hair appear fuller and thicker, stuff like that. But, you really can't make hair growth claims. And maybe they are kind of walking a tightrope when they're claiming that it's a thickening shampoo. Because
our friend Dr. Clapper has some anti-aging stuff that he's come out with. It's a probiotic, and I would love to talk to him to see how this new FDA crackdown is going to affect him with the wording.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got to know, what's going on.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to get himself in trouble.
And you're going to see more of this. And you know what? I think they should be doing it.
Well, I don't know. Well, you're too young to remember this, but back in the late 80s, it's still the Wild West, and they got around it. But, the FDA cracked down on all the hair loss products, making claims that they were regrowing hair. And there's a huge product that was sold through direct marketing on television called the Helsinki Formula. Of course, I purchased that back in the day. I think they had George Hamilton as a spokesperson at one point, and then another guy, another actor. But, back in the day, these companies were making really bold claims, stating that these products were, growing hair. Now, that's around the same time that minoxidil was FDA approved. So I'm assuming that, the makers of minoxidil at the time was Upjohn, might have gotten the FDA involved with really focusing on these hair loss products. But all of a sudden, all these products were wiped out. Everything was off the market. You could not find, for 6 months, you could not find a hair loss product. And then products started to pop up that were natural products, natural DHT lowering products and stuff like that.
Well, that's the way, because you can't really, the natural market, the homeopathic market really is not regulated at all, and they could claim whatever the hell they want.
Well, they can, but they still can't claim hair growth. What they were able to claim was lowering that these are natural ingredients that have been shown to lower dihydrotestosterone. Dihydrotestosterone is the hormone that is most widely believed to be the major factor in male pattern baldness, shit like that. And people would, put 2 and 2 together. And then as time passed, the wording got a little bit more bold and brazen to the point where it just seemed like everything went back to where it was not too long ago. So we'll see.
I tell everybody, I get asked almost every day some sort of hair question at this point because I'm like a liaison to you in the hair world. And, people that I know come up to me still, and I talk about this every time that I call in, and they'll tell me about some crazy vitamin or potion or something from Russia. Somebody told me that they ordered, I was actually in the strip club at Sapphires when we were doing the show, and one of the guys that works there watches the show, and they asked me if a certain product it works and that they're about to order it, and they're ordering it from Belarus.
Yeah. I have a guy.
I'm like, they're crazy.
Well, a friend of mine, my neighbor, the guy that I always talk about, he's getting involved in some sort of, in the cosmetic business, and he was in Korea, met this doctor. She claims to have basically cured hair loss. She was a cancer survivor who claimed that she was able to grow her hair back more rapidly with this natural product that she invented. This guy calls me from Korea to say, hey, listen, I'm sitting with this doctor. She's claiming to grow, to have the cure for hair loss. Let's do something with this. And I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah.
I mean, don't you think that if she was able to grow hair, it would be national news in Korea? She wouldn't need me, Spencer Kobren of the American Hair Loss Association, to get her product on the market. If this is something that actually worked, that she was able to prove worked, it would take off like wildfire. She would have companies who are willing, companies willing to back her. Forget about if it's natural. It doesn't need to be pharmaceutical companies. Companies who would give their left nut to get their hand on this formula.
And in Asia, they go crazy with the cosmetic stuff. I mean, they're not doing surgeries, but they have all these weird devices that claim to do crazy stuff. There's that nose job device. Have you seen that thing where it pushes the bone down and it pulls your nose up?
I have seen that, but they actually are doing surgery. Actually, oh, Jesus, it's my cell phone. Actually, and it's on the other side of the studio. I'm going to let it ring. How do you feel about that, Andrew?
What do you say? Someone is in the studio?
My cell phone is ringing. Can you hear it?
Yeah, very unprofessional.
It's on the other side of the studio. I forgot to unplug it.
I'm filing it away.
Jesus Christ. But, China actually is grown exponentially as far as cosmetic surgery. They are performing surgery in Asia, and cosmetic surgery, plastic surgery is on the rise. And I think they might be number 2. I think the U.S. is number 1, China's number 2, and then it's Argentina I could be wrong, or maybe Brazil for plastic surgery. So there's a lot of plastic surgery happening in China.
But there's also a lot of hocus pocus stuff going on there, and it's loosely regulated. I mean, we see it here with, what I would love? I would love for all these, creams that you buy at CVS that claim anti-aging, whatever, or anti-puffy removal, all this stuff. Someone should really look into it, investigate it, and pretty much tell people what works and what doesn't, because I guarantee you most of this stuff is a scam.
Well, yeah, it is, and there are companies that do that. I mean, there's this website, Quackwatch, I think it was, and other companies that do that, but it doesn't make a difference because, once all of a sudden we see the pretty young girl. You know what's so funny about the marketing of these products? They have like a 22-year-old model marketing these skin creams, and these old broads, people my age, are like, oh my God, look how good she looks, and the packaging is so nice, and you see it in the store, and you want to give it a try. You want to see what it's like. It's such a waste of time. And yet there are probably some products that might benefit you to some degree. Skin lightening creams, things to like lighten dark spots and sunspots and shit like that. Quinine, products that do that type of work. But for the most part, everything that happens on the outside, for the most part, is really dictated to what you put into your body. So it's dictated by what you put into your body. So if you radically change your diet, you will see a significant change in your appearance. People who are dealing with even cystic acne, if they were willing to go on an extremely stringent diet, maybe juice.
Even if it's improvement that helps your hair too with certain diets.
Yeah, but maybe just juice for a month. People who are dealing with lifetime issues with psoriasis and eczema. I mean, it's just proven that if you really completely restrict your diet, change it completely, really, incorporate natural foods, especially if you don't have any allergies to natural foods, it will change the condition of your skin. It could change the condition of your hair to some degree. It's not going to really stop or prevent, in my view, androgenetic alopecia. However, it will benefit you in many ways, and it may make you, a little bit, better off as far as, treatments are concerned. You may react better to treatments. But people, people want to pop a pill. They want to put on a cream. They want to spend $30 in, the drugstore to buy some bullshit. Give it a try for a while, especially if it has like a label or it's promoted by someone in Hollywood or, a Beverly Hills plastic surgeon or whatever. You know what bothers me? I've been in this business for a long time. And I know some good doctors who are involved in this stuff too, but what bothers me is when these doctors really start to, put together their own products, skin products and hair products, and, and everything has their name on it. And it just, I don't know, man, it just seems so, once I start to see that, I really start to think, oh, wait a second, why is this person involved in medicine? Does he want to be in medicine, or does he just want to be selling some sort of product? Now, I know a doctor.
Well, you see that a lot. I think it's fame. I think it's money.
Well, I know a great doctor actually, in San Francisco, great hair transplant doctor, who is and I don't know if he wants me to put his name out there, but he's very, very well known in the olive oil business, and he sends me olive oil every year for Christmas. and you see his product in all the stores, Whole Foods and Ralph's and all that stuff. That's pretty cool. He's not selling hair products. He's selling olive oil. So he is an entrepreneur. He's a businessman and a doctor. I could deal with that. When these guys start to get into the skin products, and in this case, the hair products and the shampoos and this and that, that's when I start to think to myself, shit, man. It's really just turned into a machine. It's really just turned into a business. And it just...
I'm gonna come up with my own shampoo, the Andrew Zarian hair solution.
Well, that actually, you would probably sell a lot of it. That's with your...
Listen, you could look just like me. You could have hair just like me if you use it for 30 days.
Absolutely. Listen, I've had opportunities, and sometimes I think to myself, you know what? When it's time, when I really want to retire, bingo. Get together with some company, direct marketing company, get my ass on QVC. I guarantee you, we can do $1 million a month, maybe more.
It's so funny. I just said that, and I got like 4 messages saying, "Hey, I'd invest."
Of course they would. Of course they would.
Listen, I'm all for it. You know what it is? I'm all for products being on the market that could enhance it to some extent. I think a lot of these, there are thickening shampoos out there that do work.
I believe in that stuff.
I felt that the one that I was using did work. I mean, it thickened it, it plumped up the hair. You're not getting hair to grow, but it gives an illusion that you have more hair. But I think the thing is, a lot of people go in and buy these products with certain expectations. They think they're going to go from like a Norwood 7. They got a little bit of hair, and they're going to start growing hair on their head, and that's not a realistic. That's not a realistic thing to want.
Well, this is the thing. It's not realistic, but this is the thing.
As I said, that there's a Bosley commercial on TV. That's why I got distracted.
But in our world, in the hair loss community, the diehards, the guys that spend time in the message forums, the guys that watch the show on a regular basis, everyone knows that the mainstream stuff that's being sold is garbage, but they're still latching on to, these concoctions that are being sold through online pharmacies, somebody's story, so there's always some guy online that has this story that believes that they have this combination of, whatever nutritional supplement plus vitamin C plus this plus, and it grew their hair. And they're actually able to put pictures out there. And it seems that, okay, this guy's got some hair growth. And then all of a sudden, everybody's trying to put this combination together for themselves. And a thread or a section on a forum will last like that for 2 years. And then everyone will say it's bullshit and they'll move on to the next thing. So we're all continuing to grasp at straws, trying to help ourselves. I'm old school. I'm an old dog in this game, and I've been around for a long time. I see this stuff, and I still kind of gets my attention. I'm still like, well, what is this? And then I have to kind of shake myself and say, it's the same shit. It's just 20 years later.
I got a guy that works for me, and he's a total full-blown Norwood, and he's in total denial about his hair loss, and he claims that he shaves it and it's his own. He shaves it because he wants to. But this is a dude that was going to hair club and stuff, and every week when I see him, he starts talking to me about when is it going to work, because he heard about Replacel, and he thinks like this is going to bring all of his hair back, and I had to sit him down and I'm like, listen, even if this thing works and it brings you 30-40% of your hair, you're nowhere near a full head of hair.
Yeah, but I mean, 30%. If something worked to bring back 30% of your hair, that's pretty significant.
I'm being extremely giving with that number. I mean, 30% of your hair, but he has no hair.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing on top. There's nothing to grow. So what are you going to grow if there's nothing there?
Well, I mean, this is the thing, though. If this particular guy, I know who you're talking about, would have just kind of, and he's a young guy, but, he began the process when these products were out there, when finasteride was on the market already. All he had to do was do a little bit of research.
No. I'm talking about a different guy.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I'm talking about one that shaves his head and he went to hair club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
there's no hope for him.
Yeah. No, that's well, you know what? Joe would disagree with you, and I'm going to put him on the air right now.
If you ask Joe, he'll put a skunk on your head and just glue it on.
Joe, you're going to have to castigate Andrew, right?
What did he say? I missed that. He's selling his product?
No. He's falling asleep, dude?
He was sleeping.
No, actually, I was urinating at that time.
I thought you had like a catheter or something.
Well, I used to have a bedpan during the day, but I had to. I'm suffering from diarrhea, so I was in the bathroom.
Oh my God.
What did you say?
I don't know.
I'll castigate him. What do you say?
No, he was just saying how there's no hope for guys who have been bald for a long time.
No.
What I said was, if you're a Norwood 6, and you have nothing up top, there's really not much that's going to happen.
You're dead wrong, Andrew.
Okay, please. Castigate
I'm aggressively castigate you. I know what 7 has a full head of hair because he has his hair, full head of vellus hair. His hair is in a dormant state. And if you study it on a microscope, you see numerous vellus hairs. So there's hope. Norwood 6, Norwood 7, there's hope for everyone, Andrew.
If you're a Norwood 7, the situation we were talking about, let's say roughless cell, for example, or let's say any kind of treatment like that. If you're going to bring back 30% of your hair at most, and you're a Norwood 7, you're not getting a full head of hair.
Well, it depends on where it depends on where this 30% grows.
I'm sorry, that's better than what a transplant you give you. A Norwood 7 maybe get 15%.
I'm not talking about a transplant. I'm not. The transplant's not an option for this person. They don't want a transplant.
Oh, a Norwood 7 gets 30% of his hair. A Norwood 7 lost approximately 70,000 hairs. 30% of his hair is approximately 25,000 hairs. That's about 25,000 hairs, about 12,000 grafts. To me, that's pretty significant, Andrew. I hate to disagree with you.
But it's not a full head of hair.
No, it's neither is a transplant. No way near a full head of hair. But a transplant can never do anything near a full head of hair. But it would be
No, what I'm saying is this person, this example that I was giving, he thinks he's going to get a full head of hair. I mean, he thinks he's going to get a hairline of like a 18-year-old, and I had to explain to him, like, no, that's not a realistic expectation of what it's going to be. And he said, no, I don't want that. I want a full head of hair.
But it also depends, you know. I mean, you know, there are guys like Castration who are working on, you know, other cell-based solutions, and you know, the truth is, you know, there was a study, I guess about a year and a half.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Jesus.
I'm a hair loss expert.
I guess about a year ago, and you know, his lab found that basically there's kind of like stem cell inactivation in guys who are dealing with male pattern baldness, and if you're able to reactivate those stem cells, then there's a possibility that you can reverse the process completely. So if you have growth, if you have vellus hairs, even if you're a Norwood 7, if they can get this, you know, these type of cell-based solutions, get their shit together, it's possible one day that we're going to be able to reverse it completely. So maybe the guy you're talking about will one day have a full head of hair, and hopefully sooner rather than later.
I hope not. I hope this person never gets his hair back.
Why?
Because I don't want to. I'm going to attack you for that.
I hope hair loss is cured, and he's the only one. He's the last of the Norwoods.
Jesus.
Andrew, you feel losing your hair. Why don't you get yourself castrated, man? And you'll never have to face that.
I don't want to. I don't want to get castrated. Why don't you go get castrated?
Well, would do anything. I'm already a sufferer. I wouldn't do the damn thing. If I was castrated tomorrow, I wouldn't grow one goddamn hair. So what's the point of that? I can't masturbate anymore.
Jesus.
I don't know. You know, on that note, guys, I'm going to take a break. Andrew, man, thanks for the call.
All right.
I always love you hanging out.
I hope your hair never grows back.
If you want to hang out, you know, I don't want to.
Andrew's attacking me now on the air. Oh,
I hope it never grows back. I hope it all falls. It's over for you, Joe.
God.
I'm putting a curse. I'm putting a curse on you now.
Andrew, don't do this to me. Please take it back on the air. Please, you're going to freak me out tonight, man. Please, Andrew. Please, Andrew.
Andrew hung up. Andrew hung up.
Oh, my God. He crashed me on the air. Please have you produce call him back.
All right.
Take that off.
I'll tell you what. I'll take a break. Hopefully, Andrew will call back to take the curse off of you. And we're going to take a message. We're going to take a break. Phone number 888-659-3727. This is a crazy fucking show. I got to tell you. I can't believe I'm still doing this. 888-659-3727. I'm Spencer Kobren. You are listening to and watching The Bald Truth. Listen, if you guys have trouble with the feed on, you know, the main feed, that's the Stickam feed on the Bald Truth homepage. There are several other feeds. You can go to Justin TV. You can go to Ustream.tv just by clicking the top navigation bar, or you can just click on the audio and listen to the audio only version of the show. 888-659-3727. Give us a call. We'll be right back after these messages. Stay with us.
He's an international best-selling author, a contributing editor for Consumer Digest magazine, and the host of the longest-running reality radio show for men. I'd say he's the man.
The truth shall set you free!
It's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome back. Want to give us a call here at The Bald Truth. The phone number is 888-659-3727. Live from Los Angeles. Live from the compound here, TBT Studios in Los Angeles. And it's so great to be here. Obviously, it's the Hair Loss Show. You know, I keep talking about last week because it was really interesting. And initially a little overwhelming to have these dudes in my house, in the studio. Loved meeting them. It was definitely very cool. But it's like, you know, you're walking into I don't even know how to explain it. It's like you are on fucking display because of your hair. These guys, while they were very gracious, were trying to figure out what the fuck was going on the entire night. Oh, I saw it. I didn't even offer them to allow them to touch my hair. They didn't ask. I thought they probably figured I would offer it. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. They want to show me their shit, which they did, which is pretty awesome, by the way. Very impressed with both of their hair transplants. Actually blown away. You know, Joe Tronick, it was a repair patient who was, full-blown, Norwood 6, who has a great-looking head of hair. A little thin on top, as he shows online, but it looks like it does online. I actually thought it was going to look thinner in person, which is usually the case. But the thing about Joe Tillman is he takes really good pictures. So it's really an accurate portrayal of what his, if that's the right word, of what his hair looks like. Spencer Stevenson, I could not believe this guy's head of hair. In a million years, I wouldn't even think this guy had hair loss. That's how good his hair looked. And this guy, I think, had 4, and he can contact me after he sees this show to correct me if I'm wrong, 4 Bosley hair transplants that he wasn't happy with, and several other repair transplants by both Alan Feller and Dr. Lindsay. And there's no way you can tell. There's no way. We were in a restaurant, and we had a couple of drinks in us, and he was showing the waitress, a young, beautiful girl, his hairline, asking her what she thought. That's how proud he is of his work. And I was really impressed. I have to say this. So whoever's out there that somehow thinks that hair transplantation can not only look, can't look completely natural and can't get good density, I'm here to tell you, and I've been saying this for many years, that it can, but these are 2 industry representatives starting out representing themselves who have had incredible results. And I have to tell you, while I think Spex's hair characteristics were a little bit better as far as, the ability to kind of create that full looking head of hair, because Joe's hair is a little finer, it's actually surprising at how good his hair looks, just with the corrective surgeries that he's had. So, listen, I'm not here to sell hair transplants. I will not sell hair transplants. I still believe that hair transplantation is your last resort. I say, shave your head. You can't deal with that. Obviously, get yourself on medication. If that's not working, get yourself a hairpiece, whether a partial hairpiece or whatever it is. Try all of the above before you decide to go for surgery. But the truth is that's not going to happen because especially the young guys, even though hair pieces are really the most used hair loss product right now or ever actually, and more guys wear hair pieces than you could ever imagine. Most young guys will say it's out of the question, even older guys. And they kind of save that as a last resort. Sadly, there are a lot of guys who are wearing hair pieces who are members of the club who have had bad surgeries, who are hiding their hair pieces because they didn't do their research. They jumped into surgery, they made a mistake, and now they're forced to wear a hairpiece. So these guys probably could have shaved their head first, maybe done a little research, tried the hairpiece and see if that worked out. And if that didn't work out, then they could have, hopefully had enough time to really research surgical hair restoration and get it done right. Usually not what happens. 888-659-3727. Let me pot up the lines. First, let me see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, it's Andrew.
Andrew, what's happening, man?
I feel bad. I called to remove the curse.
Oh, let me pot up Joe, too. You guys are so fucked up. Jesus. Joe.
Yeah, I've been really upset. I put Sean Hannity on, looked at that freak's hairline. It upset me enough that Andrew attacked me with this terrible curse on me. It really freaked me out because I love Andrew. He's a beautiful boy. I was going to call his cell number, but I don't want to, upset him and his beautiful wife, Jess.
Joe, he called to take off the curse. And he's like Armenian or some shit, so those curses mean something.
They do.
I know that. Here's the problem.
But Joe, here's the problem. The curse is now in the chat room. I can't take it back. It's entered the chat room.
The curse from Joe is in the chat room.
Andrew, I'm a hair loss sufferer. What more can you do to me, Andrew? Nothing.
I'm sorry, you upset me, Joe. You upset me.
Andrew, I'm a hair loss sufferer. What worse curse is there than that?
Then what are you worried about?
There's nothing worse than being a hair loss sufferer,
Right, but I'm saying, so what are you worried about the curse?
Well, I don't know, because I feel that Andrew's is mad at me for some reason. I love him. He's a beautiful boy, beautiful wife. He's a nice kid. I like him.
He's not mad.
He's
not mad. People in the chat room are saying you're a gypsy, Andrew. Is that true?
I'm probably part gypsy. I know how to do curses, so.
There you go. That's pretty scary, Joe.
But Andrew, I already got the curse. There's nothing more, I've cursed as a hair loss sufferer. What's worse in life than being a hair loss sufferer?
There to be a cure, and you're the only one that doesn't work on.
No, me and Spencer have the cure already. You didn't know that? We're just holding it back.
Spencer has the cure, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
You know it too, Andrew. We all have the cure. We're just holding it back from the sufferers. You know how it is, right, Spencer?
It's kind of funny, and maybe Joe should.
I'm just kidding. Before you attack the line.
Well, maybe you should have been here, Joe, because we were talking about. I'm telling you, these are just regular guys. We're having a few drinks in my house. We had a lot of beers on the show, and then we continued the party.
I know that.
We had continued the party. How do you know that?
So I was watching the show and I saw you. The hair loss sufferers consuming beers.
Well, and
the Budweiser was stacking up, Spence.
Yeah, it's true. I was stacking them on the side here. Very bridge and tunnel, but that's me. What am I going to do?
I'll file that one away too.
But we continued the fun with the camera crew. By the way, they didn't leave until about 8:30, and then we went out. Then we went out to dinner, and we continued the fun there. And the stories of what happens, in this industry, and a lot of the stories that were being discussed were like forum stories, like the craziness on the forum and talking about certain characters on the message forums that these guys were finally able to, and these guys, not necessarily on the forums now, but that these guys were finally able to meet or to talk to and to hear the real stories behind, why some people just go nuts on the message forum. It's kind of like, it's really a sociological study that I think, maybe we can put together some sort of an ebook to get these stories out there because they are fascinating, dude. Joe, your story, while your story is insane, it's fascinating, it pales in comparison to a lot of the shit that goes on out there.
Yeah, I definitely understand that.
Jesus.
Well, let me ask you a quick question. When you cut, I have to say one thing, just to get off topic. Where the hell is Norwood? Where is George? And where's the hell was for TJ? I'm worried about the three cats. Did they do something terrible?
Well, I think Andrew said TJ was in the chat room a while ago, a few weeks ago.
I haven't You know, maybe they had lost stuff or did something terrible to himself.
George called me at home. I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago.
George?
Yeah.
Yeah, George, like he's part of like a militia or something. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he called me. He was talking about the militia, and he spoke about how he has Lowe's as a compound, and
yeah,
I don't know, a whole thing.
George is he's busy. You know, he's busy like getting ready for the election and putting up the sandbags and whatever he needs to do.
He's getting ready for 2012, Joe.
Well, I can't comment on the election because I don't want anybody knocking on my door. So I will not comment on the election.
You know, the one thing I've learned in my career is to kind of stay off the topic of politics. I think for if people are real listeners, they kind of know that I'm kind of like
apolitical.
I'm not apolitical, but I am, more of a fiscal conservative and I guess a kind of a social liberal. Yeah. People say maybe that's a libertarian. Maybe I'm a little more fiscally conservative. But whatever it is, the truth is to voice my politics and talk about it all the time, it's really none of anybody's fucking business. And then you start to make new enemies.
Right.
No,
but
Andrew knows. Andrew voices his opinion all the time. He's got all kinds of enemies.
Well,
I do.
I'm not saying
and I get yelled at all the time.
I'm sorry. I'm not saying who I support for president. I don't support President Obama or Romney. I'm saying on the air, but I'm predicting that Romney will win. I'm not saying who I support. I'm just making a prediction.
Well, I do know that, Joe. You've made the correct prediction, like for the last 7 or 8 elections.
Yes, I have.
And I don't know why. I mean, basically, people should take out odds. I think there should be odds on Joe's prediction in Vegas.
But they do have odds in Vegas for they do take bets on the presidential election.
I know, but just on what you're going to predict.
Just on Joe.
Just on Joe.
Well,
I'm
sure
all right. Listen, man. Thanks for the call. Thank you for calling to take the
show.
Joe. Thank you for calling to take off Joe's curse.
Andrew. You know what? I've decided I'm not taking it off and it's back on.
Oh shit!
The curse is back on, Joe. It's back on. It's over.
See you, Andrew. Yeah, hang up.
That's horrible, Andrew. I'm going to have to call you tomorrow night to discuss this with you on your private line. Would that be okay with you?
He left.
After I chest my Xanax?
He left. I think he had his fingers crossed when he made the curse, though. So people in the chat room want to know what the news is, Joe. You didn't get to the news.
I've been attacked. I have just nothing major. I wish, I can't create news that doesn't exist. All I have to announce is 2 quick things. Allergan has completed phase 2 trials. I'm expecting an announcement in October or November on them commencing phase 3, which will be 6 to 12 months. But in the meantime, as you know, minoxidil years ago, Spencer, doctors were making their own formulations.
Yes.
That's going to happen the next couple of months. That's my prediction.
Well, let's hope the doctors now kind of take Dr. Richard Lee's lead and who make these formulations and don't sell them via the internet. Especially
they will.
Especially across state lines.
Spencer, they're making millions of dollars in the meantime until the FDA gets after them.
Yeah, well, right? and the thing is, what normally happens, most of these guys aren't going to lose their license anyway, but there will be an indictment, there will be some sort of a settlement, there may be a monetary settlement, and, they may have to surrender their license for a short period of time, or, who knows. But it's not going to be anything major. It stinks that it's happening to Dr. Lee, but you're right. It's going to be it may end up being a slap on the wrist. And to get back to your original point, that how are these hair transplant guys who really destroyed lives? How do they get away with murder?
Yeah,
not literally.
Them.
Yeah, man, the whole industry is so fucked up.
They've actually forced people to commit suicide. You know that, Spencer. You know that. You deal with this every day.
I do know that.
They've actually caused people to kill themselves. What do you call that? A manslaughter? I don't know what the charge for that would be. Unintentional murder, whatever. They committed felonious crimes. They should be in jail. These doctors.
Yeah, well, I mean, they wouldn't. They definitely would have been It wouldn't be manslaughter. I don't think there's something called unintentional murder that would be manslaughter.
Well,
but there is something called gross negligence. They can definitely be sued civilly, for sure, and depending on how egregious the acts were, there could be some stuff. But if they're just giving people bad hair transplants, Sadly, that's subjective. And, you know, guys will sign a mound of paperwork before you go in and have these surgeries done. So
Well, any surgery you sign paperwork.
That's right. So the bottom line is, and a lot of times, you know, a doctor won't even take you on unless you sign an arbitration agreement. So you can't even sue him for malpractice. You know, I mean, I can't even go to my internist without having to sign an arbitration agreement. And at first I used to refuse, but now everybody's doing it. So you really don't have a fucking choice. If you want to be seen by a doctor, and especially a doctor that you like, you know, you're going to have to sign this arbitration agreement. So even if the fucking guy kills you, it's going to be very difficult for your family to sue for malpractice. It will go directly to arbitration. Depending on how, it can be circumvented depending on the egregiousness of the act. But for the most part, they're pretty well protected.
Well, honestly, even my psychiatrist made me sign some kind of statement, to be honest with you. I didn't even read it. I just signed it. He tried on my reading lessons with me, so I just signed it.
Well, I do think that your psychiatrist is probably smart to have you sign something, dude.
Yeah. Well, this hair loss officer attacked me. They want the news. I have a little brief news. Can I give it out before I'm attacked even more? So Andrew has been attacking me viciously. Can I just
absolutely,
get the news?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Andrew has been very venomous. I think I'm going to have to call him tomorrow and speak to his beautiful wife, Jess.
I am curious who 5961 is. He's telling me to stop the verbal diarrhea. He's asking about whether or not I have veneers. He's asking, I mean, he's a very interested, stop the murder talk. Who is this guy?
Yeah, I think he's psychotic, schizophrenic, 5961. He's complimentary at times, then he goes in the attack later. So he's like definitely a schizophrenic.
Jesus Christ.
He's a schizophrenic hair loss sufferer. Here's a brief news, okay? Well, he's trying to announce an allergen, as I said. L'Oreal is now in Europe. Okay, it's coming to the United States. I'm not sure. I can't get any quick answers. People are demanding when it's coming to the United States. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know. Right. I can't make up something that I don't know.
Don't make
and also, Yale University in Connecticut has been conducting many studies on hair loss now. They've been federally funded. It's not directly for hair loss, but it's somehow related to hair loss. They're conducting, I'm sure you're aware of that, Spencer. They're conducting, experiments on the hair follicle. And they believe their lead story, of course, is to be able to grow hair. That's their lead story, the Yale scientists. It always is the lead story.
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
I'm sure you're aware of that study.
Absolutely. But what? I guess what bothers me the most is I understand it's newsworthy. I understand anytime there's something about hair loss, it's going to get press.
Front page.
But what bugs the shit out of me, it's always the same shit. People get excited. It obviously brings traffic to the forums. It brings traffic to to what we're doing. It's and I will normally, depending on what it is, I'll report on it maybe because I don't want to get people overexcited. But it's always the same shit. It's always as soon as there's the slightest discovery, gets a lot of press, may get to the point where it's like on Good Morning America, whatever it is, and then it just dies out, and then we're waiting another 5 years. That's what's disappointing to all of us. I'm excited about, like you said, Allergan. I'm excited about Replicel, believe it or not, even though people don't want, they're pissed off at what went down a couple of months ago. I still think that they're in the mix. I'm excited about Histogen. I'm excited about what Castration is doing. I'm excited about the evolution of hair transplants, even though a lot of guys on the message forums don't think that they're evolving at all. They are.
Well, in my opinion, my lay opinion before I'm attacked again, hair transplants will evolve once they can increase the donor area. That is a major stumbling block to hair transplants, lack of donor area.
Well,
we need donor area.
That is.
More donor
that's
area.
what we need, Joe. You want to take a call?
Now, Spencer, you're being attacked now. You're being accused of holding back sharing history pictures, not to scope Gail later in a month. That's what allegations are now. I don't know if you saw the message in the forum.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see it.
That you don't want to scoop Gail because Gail will be appearing in the Bahamas in October.
I'd love to scoop Gail. If I had the opportunity to scoop Gail, I would.
Well, that's what they're saying now. That you're holding back the pitches, whatever.
All right, let's take a call.
Thank you, Spencer.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, Spencer, this is Vic from D.C.
Hey, Vic, what's happening, bro? How are you?
Hey, good. Well, I've been listening to the show, and I got two things to say. First off, I was just hoping if Joe's potted up, I could ask him one or two questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Joe, how are you doing?
Well, I'm miserable, Vic. Thank you for asking. And let me preface this by I'm not a physician or I'm not a hair loss expert. So, ask your question.
Well, here's the thing, Joe.
I don't want to be attacked in the floor by millions of people listening to the show now. So go ahead.
I even get shit we're getting shit from Suncast for crying out loud. He works for the show. It's insane.
Well, here's the thing, Joe. I listened to the discussion you and Andrew Zarian were having earlier today about the lifespan of a hair follicle. It was very interesting. My personal opinion is that once it reaches a certain point, I really don't think medication can make it grow, because from my own observation in myself and others, I've seen a scalp so shiny that I couldn't even see a vellus hair. So I wanted your thoughts on, do you really think, because if what you're saying is true, I'm with you 100%. I would love for the hair follicle to always be alive. Can you go deeper on what you said before?
Yes. Thank you, Vic. I'm very, very well aware of this. I've done a lot of studies on this, and I've read up on it tremendously. So now, from my own personal experience, my grandfather was 98 years old. He was a Norwood 6. I studied his hair. He had microscopic hairs, vellus hairs. The baldest man, if you study him under a microscope or a magnifying glass, will have a small hair at the hair follicle. The hair follicle never dies. It's in a dormant state, producing an invisible vellus hair, which can theoretically and will someday, hopefully sooner rather than later, will be able to grow into a terminal hair. No one is bald.
Okay, so
unless they're suffering from scarring alopecia, that's another story. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Vic.
Your explanation is perfectly crystal clear and it makes a lot of sense. Now let me ask you this: it goes down and becomes really, really, really fine vellus hairs. Now, I guess modern science has said that it's DHT that's causing the shrinking, causing the follicle to shrink. Then, if that's the case, then wouldn't anything that cleanses DHT from it keep it alive?
Well, Vic, let me respectfully castigate you on that comment. That was the old theory.
I may have to jump in on that. Go ahead, Joe.
I disagree with you. I'm sorry. The new theory is caused by PGD2 and other factors. The DHT theory is kind of at the window.
Well, no, that's not the DHT theory. No, dude, you're wrong. DHT theory is not out the window. We definitely know that dehydrated testosterone plays a role, and in some people, a major role in the progression of hair loss. It definitely plays a role in the miniaturization of the hair follicle. So to say that DHT theory is out the window is incorrect, Joe.
No, it's been recently somehow it's been attacked. You admit that? And I was saying PGD2 and other factors are involved.
That's true. It's not that they're not involved, but let me ask you this. Why in so many cases, especially good responders who use finasteride, who dutasteride, how does that reverse the miniaturization process? How does that slow the progression of hair loss or regrow hair if dehydrated testosterone isn't involved?
Now, Joe, may I jump in for a second? Joe, may I jump in?
Yeah, of course. Of course, it's your call, Vic.
Okay.
It's not me. I'm just a caller.
Okay, so
go ahead.
So now I've been following Spencer's show for a long time. I know he's been on finasteride for 17 plus years. Now, of course, Spencer said himself that when he started taking, he started seeing hair grow back. Now, let me ask you this: so hair growing back, I'm guessing the finasteride worked in reducing the DHT levels to a point where the follicle became healthy again. Now, in theory, if some of his hair grow back, then in theory, then every follicle that is still has potential for life should be able to grow back. Correct or incorrect, Joe?
I would have to say incorrect. Say theoretically, like I was discussing in opening the show about castration. Say you're castrated, you would no longer be producing DHT. You know what?
Correct.
You know, I'm a student of the transsexual experience. Your hair would not grow back. You would not grow one damn hair.
Well, that's not necessarily true, though. You can still, depending on how your body is affected by the enzyme 5-alpha reductase, and depending how what little amount of testosterone is needed to convert into dehydrotestosterone, and depending how sensitive you are to that little amount of dehydrotestosterone, it'll be a lot less, obviously, because you're not producing as much testosterone. You can still be affected. It's very possible. Maybe as you're getting older and you're castrated, you wouldn't be you definitely wouldn't be affected as much. But there still can be some effect, even if you're castrated, Joe. But this whole conversation at this point is ridiculous, in my view. I kind of see.
No, Vic is asking Vic's point is if you totally eliminate DHT from the body, will cause. I think the point he's trying to make is will cause regrowth of hair.
Right, but it really, but it depends. No, but it depends on how long you've been losing your hair. But you're right, Joe. You had, and I think it's not a ridiculous conversation, but I understand where Vic is going. He's saying, Joe, if your hair loss is reversible, if you have hairs on your head, then if you do this, if you castrate yourself, if some guys do get a reversal of miniaturization using finasteride, why wouldn't it work on all the hair follicles? Is that kind of what you're... Yeah.
Exactly. Spencer hit the nail. That's exactly what I was saying. I was just coming back to the discussion you and Andrew Zarian were having about the lifespan of a hair follicle. In your theory, Joe, and I have complete respect for your theory, and I hope you're correct. I hope you're correct that every follicle is always alive. If that's the case, then it would make sense that if there's still life, then removal of DHT will cause an unshrinking of the follicle.
No, it's not just DHT.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's not...
there are other factors
right.
as well.
PGD2 and other things as well.
Right, so now they're finding out there's other factors.
PGD2 inhibitor that grows hair. There's nothing to do with DHT. I'm sorry, Spencer. Go ahead.
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
So I mean, there's other factors involved, but Joe, but in some cases, I think the best response.
In some cases, yes.
Joe, let me talk. I think in some cases, the guys that are the best responders for drugs like finasteride and dutasteride, their bodies are, for whatever reason, more sensitive to, at least as far as hair loss is concerned, DHT is probably causing the majority of their hair loss. Their bodies are reacting more to DHT than to the other possible factors. So when they inhibit that enzyme that converts testosterone into dehydrotestosterone, they respond better than other guys. There's non-responders, there's mediocre responders, and then there's great responders. I look at myself as a really good responder. I feel extremely fortunate. Also, I think there were genetics involved as far as where my hair loss would have progressed. We do have Norwood 6s in the family, but the majority of guys who deal with hair loss even early on really don't progress past maybe a 4, 5, vertex. And a lot of the guys kind of keep their sides pretty well. So I think genetically I was lucky in that respect. And also I just think that I was more susceptible to the type of hair loss, to male pattern baldness, really caused by DHT than maybe some other guys.
Yeah, absolutely, and that thank you for clarifying that, Spencer. I mean, and you too, Joe, because the PGD2 link, again, as you all have been speaking about on this program, is really important. And Joe, with that, one last question for you. I mean, you've done tremendous research on these the new. What's going to be coming in the pipeline, like Repulsel, etc. Do you think they're also going to come out with anything that is straight up topical, where they don't have to take a biopsy of the hair follicle?
Now, let me ask you this question, Vic. Why would you say they'd have to take a biopsy of the hair follicle? Something that would be produced by a pharmaceutical company will be for the population at large. It won't be for an individual. So why would you make a statement like that? I'm a little curious.
Well, here's the thing, right? So, like, like, you know how you've been speaking a lot about, is it immotoprost?
Yes.
Immotoprost,
Yeah.
which lets
Yes.
the act of breeding
Now-
my teeth, yes.
Now, I completely get that that's mass marketed and it's not individualized, but when someone, I guess, like, is going to clone your hair follicles, they're going to have to take your cells from somewhere, correct?
So what I think, Joe, I'm going to interrupt you guys. I think Joe is.
I'm sorry.
What Vic is trying to say is, will there ever be a topical solution that you're going to be able to rub into your scalp that might kind of act in the way that hair neogenesis or hair multiplication would act? Basically, somehow grow hair follicles or induce hair growth to an extent like hair multiplication. Is that what you're trying to say? Something like that?
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
And what I find hilarious is that you're asking Joe or anybody, because Joe doesn't know. I don't know either, but I just love it. It's good radio.
I mean,
I appreciate
the reason I want to give Joe his deserved respect is because he does his research and comes on every week. And,
he does a great job.
So I want to give him his due respect.
And I appreciate that, Vic. I'm just busting Joe's balls.
I'm being attacked left and right tonight, man.
You're not being attacked. You're not being attacked.
Oh.
Well, Joe, obviously, he, like I said, Vic, like he said, Vic wants to know if there's going to be some sort of a cream, a salve, a potion, a lotion that you're going to be able to rub into your scalp that's going to not just induce hair growth, but, might, kind of act like cell-based therapy, but just topically.
A full head of hair, in my opinion, in my let me emphasize this. In my lay opinion, in the future, yes. In the immediate future, no.
Oh, okay. That makes
My teeth will be out within 6 to 12 months. That will be significantly better than minoxidil and Propecia. Well, it will do exactly, I have no idea. I don't have the inside information that the so-called experts on the forum have.
Better than finasteride?
No, he said better
It'll
than...
be used in conjunction with it. It's a different agent. It is a PGD2 inhibitor where finasteride is DHT.
Guys, I'm going to take another phone call, Joe. I'm going to cut you off, Vic.
Can I just give Spencer?
Yeah.
Can I just give Vic the Ball Truth Award for a great call? Would you mind?
Go ahead, give it to him.
Vic, I want to award you the Ball Truth Award for one of the best calls we've ever had on the show.
Well, hey, I appreciate that. And guess what, Joe? This show is nothing without you. So thank you for staying on.
Joe, man.
You think I should fire Spencer, Vic, or what?
That'd be a good idea, actually.
I think you like the idea. Right,
and Spencer, I know you have to take another call. I'll leave you with one thing. I know you used to do a lot of heavy weightlifting a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
And last weekend was the Mr. Olympia contest.
More than a couple of years ago, but yeah, go ahead.
Last weekend was the Mr. Olympia contest, and I look at a former Mr. Olympia. This guy has like 23-inch biceps, massive, and he's a Norwood 0.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. I mean, all the testosterone running in him, not a dent on his hairline.
Yeah, well, he's not prone to hair loss. He's not susceptible.
Absolutely.
That's the way that it is. It's the luck of the draw, dude.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you for taking my call, and thanks for letting me ask these questions.
Oh, you got it, Vic.
You're
Listen,
a great American, Vic.
absolutely, and we always appreciate the call, Vic.
Hey, thank you.
All right.
Thank you guys so
Take
much.
care.
Bye.
888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Oh, hi, Spencer. Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Hi, this is Granger from the chat room.
Hey, Granger, what's happening, man?
Hey, man. First, I guess I want to say that very, very sadly, this has become one of the highlights of my week.
I'm so sorry to hear that, dude. That really sucks.
Well, I mean, given the cards were dealt, this is a great show, I would say.
Well, I appreciate that, man. And like I always say, we don't want to be a part of this fraternity, but if we're here, we might as well have fun.
Right. I have two questions. I guess kind of a comment and a question. I don't really understand how it works per se, But after Allergen, I don't know how it's pronounced, is going to be done with their, phase 2 trials coming up shortly. I guess I don't understand why we have to wait another 6 or 12 months when basically we know if it's safe. I mean, it is a topical, so all else equal, it's probably likely to be safer. And I guess we're going to know the efficacy shortly anyway, so why do we have to wait another, whatever it is to get through this bureaucracy when, basically it's here on this earth, but we don't have access to it because of the government,
Well, that is the way that it is, and the thing is, there's a good reason why it goes through 3 phases of a trial, and you know what? Sadly, sometimes even when these drugs go through several phases, even like you said, this drug is already used for another application, so we know that it's safe, but it still has to be done a certain way because, frankly, A, that's how the FDA works, and B, it actually puts a drug company in less of a position of liability if this stuff is done. So,
let me ask you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, let me ask you this: isn't it kind of funny that Histogen is coming onto the scene? This is an American-made company. I mean, this could be a potential game changer. And if all goes according to plan, if all goes well, they're going to be releasing it abroad first.
Right.
So even though we engineered it, somebody who doesn't have the FDA is going to be receiving the benefits. Isn't that? And instead, what our taxpayer money? I don't mean to make this a rant, but you were mentioning Dr. Lee. In the grand scheme of things, the only thing he was penalized for is his success. It wasn't a miracle, but who cares really? And instead, you know what I'm getting? I'm just wondering what your thoughts on this whole clinical trials and the FDA, and sometimes it's just aggravating, in my opinion.
No, listen, I understand that, and I definitely agree with what you're saying about Dr. Lee. We live in a very difficult world, and sometimes it is a contradictory place. It's a hypocritical place. It's just the way that it is. I don't know how old you are, but as you get older, how old are you?
26.
26. As you get older, you're not a kid, but as you get older, you're gonna, and depending on what you do in your life, you're gonna realize just how much bureaucracy and how difficult it is to get things done in this world. And sadly, sometimes bad people, get away with a lot of shit, and good people end up, like Dr. Lee, in my opinion, trying to help people, and yes, trying to make a buck, but he gets the short end of the stick. That's just the way that it is. And how do I feel about the FDA? How do I feel about the bureaucracy?
Right.
Look, I think the FDA is there for a reason. Unfortunately, even though it's there for a reason, sometimes a lot of dangerous stuff slip through the cracks, and stuff that I believe would be relatively innocuous, like this new Latisse product. It's just frustrating. It's just a frustrating situation.
Right.
So I understand what you're saying, but what are you going to do? It's the way that it is.
Right.
And what's happening with Replicel, I think that's great. It's awesome that they're doing what they're doing, and it's great if they're able to prove its efficacy, bring it offshore, and help a lot of people. Let's hope that happens.
Yeah, in the meantime, we'll be living in the underworld, waiting. But
tell me your story, man. You're 26 years old. You're dealing with hair loss. This is the highlight of your fucking week, which is ridiculous. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that's sad.
What's going on with you?
I don't think my story is really too atypical from anybody else's. It's just I started losing my hair at a very young age at the beginning of college, and I guess slowly but surely, I think it just kind of consumes you. I kind of feel maybe it's like a character flaw or something. You kind of almost feel like there's people in this world who would wish they could have like such a complaint. But that only helps temporarily. As time progresses, I just think about it more and more and more and more and more.
Well, and you're right about that. It's easy for people to say, and I say it myself, and I thought it myself. Wow, we're so lucky. There's people who lose limbs, who have really, really bad diseases. They live lives that we can never imagine living. But the truth of the matter is, hair loss hurts. Hair loss affects our lives because it makes it more difficult for us to feel comfortable in our own skin. We're judged because of our hair. We're judged because of our looks. We live in a very, looks-oriented society.
Right.
It's not just our country. So, of course you're going to be affected by it. How can you not be affected by it? You want to be attractive. You want to be loved. You want to feel comfortable. You want to get laid. You want to get the best looking chick you can. And for a lot of guys, it's a hindrance. It's difficult to overcome.
Right.
You know, but it can be overcome. I mean, I don't know what you look like. I don't know how bad your hair loss is. But, you know, I mean, what's your social life like now? I mean, if this is the highlight of your week, you got some problems, dude.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'd want to go on, or if I could ask my second question. I know you have to wrap up the show and whatnot.
That's all right. Go ahead.
I was wondering on the, Joe reports on what new products are in the pipeline and, praying that those work out, knocking on wood. But you said that also the surgical front is being advanced. And I was wondering if you think potentially on the horizon if we'd be able to achieve basically a scarless surgery where, technically I guess it would be microscopic wounds or whatever. But
right.
Realistically, I mean, aesthetically it would just be almost invisible. So
I think so, for sure.
I think that could be like make people candidates, where they wouldn't be now.
Yeah, I definitely think that they're on the way. A lot of people, like we talk about Dr. Go. Dr. Go gets a lot of shit. I get a lot of shit about, either not talking about Dr. Go or talking about Dr. Go. He's had his failures and he's had his successes over the years. But I tell you, he's working diligently at this. And I think that there are other doctors who are working on similar procedures where at some point it's going to be a real viable option for the masses. I really believe that. Listen, Go's been putting a lot of effort into this. I hope that he can overcome some of the obstacles that he's dealing with, both that are inherent with his particular procedure and also the issues that he's having with, the European authorities to, the American authorities to allow, certain agents that he's using in Europe to be used here in the United States, so he can kind of like broaden this technique and have I think the bottom line is, if more people can get their hands on what Dr. Go is doing, perhaps, you get the right minds together, they can solve all the issues that are currently happening. And right now that's not happening, but I do believe it's going to eventually happen. And so to answer your question, I know I'm rambling. To answer your question, I think that's going to be a possibility. I think we're probably closer to that than we think. Do I think it's going to be something that's going to be mainstream soon? Not in the next 5 years. I really don't. I don't think it's going to be happening in the States in the next 5 years. I think that perhaps something like this is going to evolve in Europe. And like I said, Dr. Go's working on it right now. But, there's a lot of people that are claiming that it's not quite ready. But then there are people out there that are going and getting the procedure done, and they're happy with it. But I just wouldn't jump into anything, man. You're 26 years old. Real quick before I wrap up, where are you on a Norwood scale, if you could let us know?
I would probably be considered at 5, almost a 6. I have the you can see basically the Norwood 6 written in stone, but I still have kind of hairs on top of the Norwood 5, Norwood 4 you could even say, but you can see the Norwood 6 pattern emerging.
Are you treating your hair loss? Are you using finasteride?
Well, I'm like a lot of the other young listeners where I chose not to take finasteride, even though I think it's really the only thing that's effective. Just because I tried it 3 different times. I thought I experienced adverse side effects. I mean, maybe it was psychosomatic, but I felt like I didn't want to take a chance. And I do recommend it to my friends. I don't want to put you out there. I mean, you are inhibiting a naturally occurring hormone by 70%. Indefinitely, and nobody, what kind of effects that's going to have. So,
you're right.
Maybe I'm going to order a you or something. I don't know. That's the route I'm going to. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Well, listen, I understand that, and to tell you the truth, and I say this all the time, if all of this information was out there, and all of the fear and the guys that are, if the internet was really where it's at right now when I started, it's possible I never would have gotten on the drug. Now, it would have done me a tremendous disservice because at least for the last 17 years, I've felt completely healthy. I've had no adverse side effects. And to me, I definitely would not be in the position that I am hair-wise or even in my career if it wasn't for that drug. However, I definitely understand where you're coming from. I do believe that a lot of guys are just doing themselves a disservice by not taking it. But you know what? I'm not here to sell a drug. And if it's something that makes you uncomfortable, then you got to do what you got to do.
No, I wish it worked without side effects. To tell you the truth, I think it's now that I've lost so much hair, I kind of appreciate it even more. Just the halter process would be great, but it's not. It is what it is, I guess. One very quick question, just one kind of bold statement out of you, a prediction, if that's cool, to pull a Joe from Staten Island?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. With all these treatments, I mean, basically, I kind of listen in for the news, and a lot of guys, we're all living in the future. We all want the future to happen. It never happens as fast as we want to. I hate it. But with the surgical options advancing, with things that are coming out of the pipeline that Joe covers, do you think that they're all potentially maybe going to come together relatively soon? Like what do you how do you see it playing out in the next 5? How long will it take? You think where it's like the field will be shifted, and a Norwood 6 would be able to be helped where he can now. Maybe it's a scarlet surgery as well as some kind of new topical or something. I mean, how do you see kind of playing out?
Well, and it's a good question. I get asked this like every 5 years. And then when I say 5 years, it doesn't pan out. But I do believe now that the race is really on, that these guys are getting closer and closer than I've ever seen it since I've been in this industry. So my prediction is within 3 years, and Joe, you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, within 3 years, we're going to have a lot more in our arsenal so that, a guy who is a Norwood 6 might really be helped. Now, with that, it's going to be combination treatment, therapy, surgery, and depending on the person, a lot of guys don't want to wear a prosthesis, but, a full combination of all of the above, I think someone could walk out who is a Norwood 6 with a really full head of hair that looks completely real and natural. I think that's going to happen. Joe, what do you think?
I definitely think it's going to happen. As you know, hi, Granger. Big fan of yours. As you know, Spencer, I've been there since 1998. I was in the air with you since 1998. We had nothing. Today, we're real companies working on real things. And as you know, Allergen will be releasing Lactatia 2013. How effective it will be, I can't comment on. I don't know. I'm just saying it will be a new effective treatment. Will be released in the next 6 to 12 months. That's a fact. When these other things are coming out, in my opinion, next couple of years, you're going to see, by 2015, the world will be changed.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. So mark it down. That's our prediction.
Yeah. I'm gonna call you. That feels really good to know, considering I think you guys are very reasonable. So I'm gonna call you in 3 years. From the club, not from my room.
Dude, if I'm still doing the show in 3 years, shoot me.
If I'm still doing this in 3 years, I would perish. Granger.
All right, Granger.
I'll give. We'll get my cell number. We can talk more on the phone about it. I'll put my cell number online now. I'll get about how many calls I get.
Joe, let me tell you something. If I'm 50 years old doing this program, I'm going to have to pass on the reins. Maybe I'll pass them on to you and Andrew. All right, Granger.
Well,
listen, man. Good luck. Thanks for the call, and I really appreciate it. And just feel free to call again. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you,
Granger.
888-659-3727. Don't call. I don't know why I gave out the number because I'm wrapping up the show.
All right. Want to put time in, Spencer?
Yeah.
I'll have to castigate you. There's some explosive political news. I can't comment on it. It just happened on the air. So when you tune on, you'll see it. I won't comment on that.
Okay.
I'll have to castigate you, Spencer. People live through this show, as you know. We need you on the air more than once a week, man. We need you 3 to 5 times a week. I'm sure your millions of viewers now will agree with that, man.
Wow.
You, man, we look forward to the special Tuesdays, man. You'll only have to live for, man. You know what I mean, man?
That's a lot of pressure, Joe. And apparently Bald Jerry is upset with my prediction. But, guys, listen, I got to go.
You know what he say?
He's just fucking around.
No, Spencer, we had nothing. I only the quick 10 seconds. We had nothing years ago. Now we have a lot of stuff, real stuff going on.
I know.
So these guys who don't know what to talk about. I hate to castigate them, but they don't know what they're talking about.
All right. Well, listen, we will talk next Tuesday. Joe, thank you so much for hanging
Put
out.
the TV on, Spencer. You'll see some political news.
I'm going to put my
Like,
TV on. I promise you. Thanks a lot, Joe. I'll talk to you later.
God bless you, man. You're a real man, and I love you, man.
All right,
Love
you too, man. God bless you. And I'll tell Specs that you think he's a beautiful boy.
And tell Joe Tronick that too.
I will. I don't want to make him
Tell
jealous.
my boyfriend Andrew that too.
Okay, I will. All right, let me give out the websites, thebaldtruth.com, to check out archives of the broadcast. You can also go to our message forum, baldtruthtalk.com, interact with other hair loss sufferers, join the discussion. It can get a little crazy in there, hairy, no pun intended, in there, but it really is a great place if you read between the lines and understand there's a lot of unhappy people who are part of the hair loss community. So, sometimes there's some arguing and shit like that. But if you kind of get past that, there's a tremendous wealth of information there. So check out baldtruthtalk.com, AmericanHairLoss.org for the American Hair Loss Association. If you are considering surgical hair restoration, don't forget to check out the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons, an organization that I founded many years ago. It's IHRS.org. Remember, we do not sell surgery on the show. Surgery is always a last resort, but it's a great starting point to find some of the best doctors in the world. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you.